How much install, if any, are you getting to do in spring?
Quite a bit. Yeah, I think we did a good job being productive there. Spring ball is pretty early, but in terms of being productive those last 3 weeks in February, so we had a little bit of a smaller install for 3 weeks, 3 installs, and then carried that over into the spring, which I think helped us get started a little bit quicker.
What's kind of your approach with the quarterback situation? You don't have the guy who started last year. You got newcomers. What's the approach there this spring?
Well, I think it's unique, yeah, but it's a great opportunity for a number of those guys. Tommy's getting a number of reps, Dylan, and in terms of Jake. So they're getting a lot of live bullets against a really good defense.
What do you like that you've seen from Jake so far in spring ball?
I think he's done a really good job in terms of extending plays. His eyes are in the right spot, and so I thought he did a really good job in terms of the live situations, especially on Saturday.
Who's sticking out receiver-wise? You've got some newcomers, and then obviously a lot of guys who produced quite a bit last year.
Yeah, first, I think it's been a good transition for Luther moving into the slot. There's some really good matchups there for him. He's done a really good job in terms of his route running and defining things for the quarterback. I think some of the new additions, right, in terms of Theo and Danis can really run, Mekhi Miller, Mookie. So I'm really impressed with that group.
What's impressed you about Mekhi so far in his second year?
Well, first, when I say FBI, football intelligence is very good. And so he can play outside, he can play inside. We go 4 receivers. He can play the Y. So there's just a lot of versatility that he can provide for the offense.
Kirby, between what you're adding and then what Eli's offense is, how much more is there to learn for these guys?
There's a number of new things. Yeah, so just streamlining everything and the terminology, and obviously there's been done some really good things on offense here, so it's kind of blending everything together and making sure the verbiage makes sense, though, and you can tell a story and it kind of resonates for everyone.
Coach, you had a couple months to settle into Columbia. Just what are your favorite kind of parts of the area and the campus overall?
I would say I've kind of stayed in this bubble quite a bit. My family got out here 3 weeks ago. I like the tacos for life over here. I've been there about 8 times, and we just moved in recently, so that everyone's excited. And then in terms of my daughter, who's 3, she knows Go Tigers.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, you're coming in and having fresh eyes on this.
Yeah.
Losing Dominic Lovett, but
Yeah.
being able to bring a fresh perspective. How do you approach kind of trying to replace that production, knowing what he did last year, even though you weren't?
Yeah, totally. Dom made a number of really good plays last year, but I mentioned it with some of the new additions, some of the steps that the other guys are making who are coming back. I think the receiver group's in a really good spot. We got to continue to grow, and in terms of not just knowing their spot, not know the X, the Z, the H, like know the concept so we can move those guys around and get them in the right matchup.
What's been your impression of this offensive line so far? Any areas you see that need to grow? Or?
Well, I think our defense, they got a good group up front, so you're continuing to compete there. And the big thing is communication. Got a number of guys coming back, but there's some new verbiage, right? We talked about that in terms of the offense, so just making sure we're all on the same page.
What do you make of your running back group? There's a mix of young guys and old guys. And
Yeah, Cody, right, last year had a very productive season. I think Pete's having a really good offseason. T-Man Tavares Jones, we got to get him as many reps as possible in terms of those game situations and playing football.
I mean, he brings experience. What is the expectation level for him, or what's the outlook for him?
I don't know if I necessarily, this specific expectation or anything, but I think he's going to be productive, I'll say that. He does a good job in terms of feeling space and winning versus man, and so he has more burst than I anticipated too, which is a good thing.
one thing about Jake, his numbers at Miami, like there was no rushing numbers there. I don't know if that was their blocking or what they called him to do. Does he have some run around ability?
He definitely does. Jake's elusive in the pocket. He can extend plays. I do think some of those opportunities he had at Miami, right, you're playing from behind a little bit, and so you might be forcing things, but I've been impressed in terms of his preparation and in terms of work ethic every day.
With Sam then, or is it just kind of easing him along after having the little
unique situation, and he's making the most of it and doing a really good job in terms of the classroom and doing the things he can do on the field.
What what is Brady bringing? Despite, he can't throw obviously, but what is he bringing?
He brings a leadership component every day, right, with the offense and making sure the energy's right. And in terms of the quarterback room, he's seeing things from a little bit different perspective, right, being behind and taking the mental reps and still communicating with the other guys who aren't in terms of what he's seeing.
Jake has been through last year kind of a crowded quarterback room, and how did that benefit him competing all season long and with a couple other guys?
Yeah, I think he's been through it and learning a different offense and in terms of understanding maybe there's some things he can relate our offense to in terms of catching up to speed a little bit quicker. But he knows that it's all about competition here, and he's making the most of his reps every day.
Kirby, Eli's always said spring's not for winning the jobs necessarily. Is there like a timeline in mind, a quarterback, ideally for you, you'd like to know who your number one guy is?
I would say that's a Coach Drinkwitz's conversation.
Yeah.
I'm just really excited for these guys to get these reps against a really good defense, and in terms of, right, we're learning the offense, we're all learning it together.
Yeah.
Right, and so there's going to be a little bit of trial and error within that.